Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about the physical properties of the mineral, and you can see there are the varieties of the mineral which are available on the surface of the earth or within the earth. There are more than 3000 minerals which are there, which have been crystallized from the molten magma which are there on the surface of the earth. Out of this, there will be more than 2500 minerals are the non-metallic one, and 500 minerals are the metals one. A branch which is deal with this particular minerals is called as a mineralogy. So it is a branch of geology which deals with the study of mineral is called as a mineralogy. So this is what we have the basic definition, mineral and a logy. So here a branch of geology deals with the study of the minerals which are formed naturally. So here we have the mineral which is there. And now, so what we are going to make out? The definition. What is the definition of a mineral? There are the five important points. If these mineral, any substance which fulfill these five criteria, then that will be called as a mineral. Yes, the first one criteria, it should be a natural one. So whichever the substance which is there, if it is crystallized from the molten magma, then it is called as the natural form. So the mineral should be a naturally occurring one. Second one, it is having a homogeneous solid substance. What is the homogeneous? Means if you take any mineral from India, like a quartz, or you can take as a mica, and if you see any world, any sample from the world, we'll find out that both will have the same composition. The homogeneous, they have the same one. So the second important point for this condition to form a mineral is it should be a homogeneous solid substance. And next one, it is having a definite chemical composition. Every part of the world, if you make out, the mica will be showing you the foliated form, pearly luster, and the very important one showing you one set of cleavage. So these are any part of the world, if you get going to get a sample, that will give you the same one. So it is a naturally occurring homogeneous solid substance having a definite chemical composition and is having a definite atomic structure or molecular structure and formed by from the inorganic processes in the nature. So if these five conditions are fulfilled by any substance, then that substance will be called as a mineral. So here, when you're going to make out a definition of the mineral, these 5 points should be there in that particular definition. The first point, it should be naturally occurring. Second one, it should be homogeneous solid substance having a definite chemical composition, having definite atomic structure or molecular structure and formed by the inorganic processes in the nature. If these conditions are fulfilled, then we call this is a mineral. And when you're going to study this one, then that branch will be called as the mineralogy. Now here we have the various branches of geology is there. If you go through this one, this is what we have the definition of a mineral. Again, mineral is a naturally occurring homogeneous solid system having definite chemical composition with a regular atomic structure, molecular structure, and is formed by inorganic process of the nature. Any point you can put anywhere and you can make the definition. But in that definition, these 5 points should be there. The first one, naturally occurring, homogeneous, solid substance, having definite chemical composition, definite atomic structure or molecular structure formed by inorganic process in the nature. If any one of the condition has not fulfilled by the substance, then that will not called as a mineral. Then that will be a artificial one. So that is the one minerals. And I can say these are the naturally occurring minerals having the various shapes, size, colors, everything you are going to get in the nature. Next one, important one, the branches of geology. How many branches will be there of this particular mineralogy depending upon the what we have the uses, its concepts, and On the basis of that, we have been divided this branch into various branches. The first simple branch what we have is called as megascopic mineralogy, or it is called as physical mineralogy. Megascopic because it is the mineral we can hold in the hand, so it is a megascope. We can, with your own eyes, you can see this one. Second one, we can study the physical properties of the mineral. So that branch is also called as the physical mineralogy. So first branch is megascopic mineralogy, or it is called as the physical mineralogy. The second branch, where we can make out the powder of the mineral and try to analyze what will be the composition of the mineral, then that will branch is called as the chemical mineralogy. So we can find out the various whatever the elements which are present, oxides which are present. So that will be the chemical mineralogy. The mineralogy, the branch deals with the chemistry of the minerals. The third branch, microscopic mineralogy, or it is called as optical mineralogy, where we can take a thin section of a mineral and under with the help of the microscope we can study its physical optical properties and its whether it is properties in plane polarized light or whether it is a properties in cross Nicol. So we can study the optical properties of the mineral with the help of the microscope. Then that branch will be called as the optical mineralogy, where optical properties we can study, and we are going to study the thin section of the mineral. So that branch is called as microscopic. So optical or microscopic mineralogy. Next one will have the crystallography, crystal and graphy. So here the crystal is there and graphy means the whatever the mineral which is crystallized in its natural form with all the parameters and it's having definite size, shape, form, whatever the parameter which is the properties are there. If it is there in an ideal mineral, but normally the ideal condition is not everywhere it is common. So the mineral may have deform also. So when you're going to study this particular properties of that mineral with the help of the crystal, where we are going to make the wooden model. We have prepared is a wooden model, whatever the faces, edges, corners, angle, whatever the angle present between the edges which is there, we have prepared a wooden model of this crystal. And when you're going to study this crystals with the parameters, what are the parameters? Its element of symmetry, its crystallographic axis, forms, indices, hold rule for holding position. If you make out this one, then that branch will be called as a crystallography, a branch of geology or mineralogy which deals with the study of crystals with reference to its form, indices, element of symmetry. All this will be comes together. So that is the branch is called as a crystallography. Then the next one is a branch is called as a gemology. It is also a mineral, but now here it is the precious mineral, semi-precious, precious one, and is the mineral which will be used. The cost is very high, so that is the branch what we have, the gemology. This is the what we have, the mineral in its ideal form, specific gravity. These are the properties we can study in the hand specimen for a mineral. Then these are called as attributes or characters of the mineral that we can study. So color, streak, form, that is crystal habit, luster, fracture, cleavage, hardness, and specific gravity. There are another properties are there, but that will be a theoretical one. But practically, we are going to see these particular color, streak, forms, luster, fracture, cleavage, hardness, specific gravity. We can find out in the lab. The thin section of a mineral under the microscopic petrological microscopic petrological microscope with reference to its optical properties in PPL, plane polarized light, or a cross Nicol. Under the PPL, like a color, relief, form, cleavage, cracks, twinkling, and pleochrosm. These are the seven major properties which we are going to study under the PPL. When you insert the analyzer, then we'll see another seven properties: isotropism, anisotropism, extinction angle, interference color, that will be called as double refraction, polarization, then twinning, cross hatching, turbidity. So these are the another seven properties we can study, and after any one of the one or two properties we can identify the middle. So this is the branch where we can study the thin section of the. Next branch is the crystallography. So whichever the mineral which are forming on the surface of the earth, whether on the earth or below the earth, it has the first common simple property is the color, by with our naked eye we can study the first one, where and on the basis of that we can divide this mineral into two categories. One is colorless one category, and second one is light. The sunlight which contain all wavelength will be incident on that, and on the surface of that there will be two important phenomena has taken place. One is reflection and second one is absorption. Some of the rays are reflected back and some of the rays are absorbed, and depending upon which mineral color has been reflected, we are going to see the color of that particular mineral. For example, a black colored mineral. A black colored mineral is appear because of what? All the wavelength which is incident on that mineral surface has completely absorbed. None of the rays have been reflected back. So the mineral going to appear as a black mineral. The next one, the mineral appear white. Why it is going to appear white? Because in this particular process, whatever the light which is incident on that particular mineral, 100% light will be reflected back. So none of the rays have been absorbed here. So the mineral will be appear as a white to our eyes. So this is the way the mineral having the different colors. But the broadly the mineral has been divided into two categories. One is colored one and second one is uncolored. Whichever the color, whether it may be shades of green, light green to dark green, light yellow to dark yellow, whichever way the mineral combination, whatever you are going to see, whether transparent is there, you can write down that particular color. So this is a simple property of a mineral. We'll see now colors of the mineral you are going to see in this. Color of this mineral can easily identify it. Anyone you can make out here. So you can get out. This is a violet color, light blue color is there, light green. Yes, you can see the green one. How many green colors are there? A reddish one, rosy color. You can see the rosy one, smoky color. So this is the way you're going to make out the colors, identify the color. What is the streak? The mineral has to be rubbed along, the two mineral has to rub along each other. So whichever the mineral which become the soft, less harder, will give the powder. So otherwise, no need to make out. Take the mineral and rub it on unglazed porcelain plate, that is called as stick plate. Take a mineral, rub on the stick plate, unglazed porcelain plate. What is the hardness of that particular mineral? So here the definition of the streak is the streak of a mineral is the color. Yes, here also the color. The whatever the powder you are going to get, the color of the powder will be called as the streak of a mineral. And how you're going to get? Rubbing or scratching against the mineral. But whenever you go scratching in the lab, within a few practicals, both the minerals will be color will be going to vanish, and sometimes the mineral completely vanish. So we don't make that. Simply we will take a unglazed porcelain plate that we called as a stick plate, and on this stick plate we'll start rubbing the mineral, and depending upon the resistance which is offered by the mineral, we are going to get the powder or we could not get the powder. Whichever the powder is there, we'll take out in the finger, and whatever the color of that particular mineral is there, that will be called as the. Here we are giving the example like a hematite, very important one. Color of the mineral of the hematite is the black one or grayish one, whichever we are going to make out. And here the color is a black or gray. And when you rub this mineral on the stick plate, you get a powder, and take the powder on the finger. You will find out it is a cherry red, brown or cherry red stick plate. So this is a remarkable of hematite is the stick. By this property, immediately within a second, you can find out the name of the mineral. The next one, there are the combination like a graphite. Yes, whatever the graphite is there, it is a color will be black as well as the streak is also black. Sometimes what we're going to get instead of black, sometimes you get a gray color graphite, and you rub it out, you'll get the gray or dark gray color of streak of this. You can get out this mineral and its stick plate which is there of the color of this mineral which are there. You can see now those mineral which are harder than that, we don't get the powders because the resistance is more. So those mineral which are less than what we have the hardness of this stick plate, we have been measuring, or we have been mentioned that it is a 6. If the mineral is softer than the 6, this mineral, when you rub on the stick plate, we get a powder. So here we are giving you here we have the hematite. You can see the brownish or black color. You can get the cherry red. Similarly, cinnabar, you can see now the color. Then what we have, the molybdenite is there. Chalcopyrite, you can see now the light grayish or light greenish color, dark greenish color will be there. So this is way you have to find out. Mineral is offering in the nature what will be its form is there. That will be called as the form, or it is called as the habit of a mineral. Any condition is there, any condition that mineral will be crystallized in that particular form itself. So here we have the minerals basic forms which are there. It will be going to control by first one, degree of crystallization. How is the magma has cooled down? On the basis of that, we are going to get the forms, whether the middle size is all the faces, edges, corners. Then the middle shows all faces, edges, corners are well developed, then that particular mineral is called as the crystallized form. Like what we have the columnar and exactly the quartz one, where we have the what we have the pyramids are there, the prisms are there. If this faces vertical and inclined faces are present in a quartz, then that particular mineral will be showing you the form as a crystallized, or we call as a crystallized, where faces, edges, corners. Simple one. Faces, edges, corners are present, then that will be a mineral showing you the well-developed crystals. Yes, well-developed faces will be there, well-developed crystal, and that is called as the crystallized one. Next one is crystalline. What is happening in this? Here we don't find faces, edges, corner. So it is a imperfect developed crystals. So no faces, no edges, no corners. Then this is called as the crystalline form. This is the crystalline form. And the third one is cryptocrystalline form. Now what is a cryptocrystalline? Here the traces of the crystalline matter is there, where the traces of crystalline matter is there, then it is called as the cryptocrystalline variety. So these are the three basic one: crystallized, crystalline, and cryptocrystalline. But there is one more is there, that is the amorphous one, and in the middle it is a very rare. But that is in the only in the glass it is available, natural gas. But the rest one it is not been available in the middle. So it is a very rare in the middle. So crystallized, crystalline, cryptocrystalline. These are the three one, and the fourth one amorphous. It is not there in the crystal, but it is there in the natural glass. So these are the four. The various forms are available. Yes, first we'll see the crystallized form. You can see now here. It is the what we have the pyramid face. This is the pyramid inclined faces, and this is the what we have the vertical faces. That is the prism one. The next one, the faces, edges, corners are absent. The third one, the middle is in the form of traces. Then it is a cryptocrystalline. Crystallized, crystalline, and cryptocrystalline. So these are the three basic character. How it will be there in the normal format is there. First one, acicular form. Here the mineral is having fine needles like crystals. Fine needles of a crystal will be there, and that is called as the acicular form. In that, especially you are going to see in a hornblende or actinolite, these are the acicular forms. The minerals in the form of the crystals. The second one, again here there is the needles are there, but the needles of fiber, radiating form. It's showing you the crystal fibers around a center point. From the center point, the whatever the needles are there, they are radiating in the 360 directions. So that will be there. So sometime we get only 30-degree, both angle will be there. Natural light, which will be the best example for the, and they will show you a balloon shape or funnel shape structure. Balloon or funnel shape structure, that is called as the shape form. And this is the typically shown by the stilbite. Radiating is the distinguishing property of natural light. Acicular form is again a distinguishing property of hornblende as well as actinolite. In addition, the second one is the color is also, both are the green one. Hornblende is a dark green, whereas the actinolite is a light green. So this is the way you are going to make out, and minerals are identified on the basis of their diagnostic properties. The next one is bladed form. Like you have everyone has seen the blade or a knife. A mineral is in the form of the shape of the mineral is in the form of knife or a blade, topaz blade or 7 o'clock blade. A same type of blade we are going to get, or sometimes knife like a shape of this particular mineral is there, and that is the diagnostic property of kyanite. So kyanite will be immediately recognized on the basis of this diagnostic property. It is a bladed form and it is the color, that is the bluish color. So we have been shown the sample of the other mineral, chief form and the bladed form, that is the kyanite. Next one, botryoidal form, the surface of the mineral, particularly the silomelane. The silomelane surface of the mineral showing you a bunch of grade or spheroids, a bunch of grade will be there, or just you put eggs in a tray and bring it in front of your eyes. A dome like a features you are going to see on that particular surface of that particular tray. Then these typical form is called as a botryoidal form. It is a bunch of grapes, or you can simply say the eggs which are kept on the tray and bring it in front of your eyes. You're going to see the dome features will be there. So that will be only shown by a silomelane. This mineral, particular ore mineral, is going to show you this particular diagnostic property. That is the botryoidal form. Next one, fibrous form. Again, this is a typical diagnostic property of asbestos. Fibrous form. The forms are in the form of strands. Whatever we have the strands, if it is a fresh one, it is look like as a hair. You will take one by one. The small threads will come out of this particular fibrous asbestos. This is a diagnostic property of this mineral. Next one, foliated form. This is again a diagnostic property of a mineral mica. Mica will show you a big sheets, 5 meters, 7 meters, 10-meter big sheets of mica, and India is the number one producer of this mica, where 100 pages book is there. If you make out one by one, each page you can easily separate it out. So here, what we'll have here in this mica mineral also, number of the sheets are arranged parallel to one another, parallel to the horizontal surface, and along this one by one you can easily separate out the sheets. So here one set of cleavage and foliated form. So this is the diagnostic property of all the mica group of minerals, whether it is a biotite, muscovite, phlogophyte, anyone can take out. So foliated form, only thing is the color will be changes in this particular mineral and its composition. Next one is granular form. The mineral is in the form of granule. Crystals will be there. Like what we have, the sugar crystals are there. You can hold the sugar in your hands. You will find out number of sugars, grains. You can easily say, look from identified from your eyes. Similar one, when you take a important mineral chromite, that is a very important diagnostic property of the chromite or olivine, you can take out. It will show you the granular form. Hold the mineral in the hand, we'll find out each crystal will be a separate one, whether it may be a very coarse crystal or it will be a medium one. Sometimes can get the fine. So here the whatever the crystal will be there, they may be medium or there may be very coarse one, or we will find, but these particular crystal granules are there, and that will be called as the chromite, or you can take the best example is the olivine. So granular form is the diagnostic property of chromite as well as the olivine mineral. So we have to be very theoretical also. You can write down the properties. So the same what we have, the photographs of the whatever the forms we have just studied. Yes, bladed one, again it is repeated over here. Bladed kyanite form. Botryoidal form shown by the silomelane. Next, when it is a fresh one, water has not been evaporated from the surface, it shows you fine threads. But once the water has been evaporated from the asbestos, it will be become the hard strands. And second one, that's why the asbestos will be used for the fireproofing clothes, or as well as you're going to make the roofs, that will be made by the asbestos sheets will be there. So that will be make out form, the mica. So this will be the use as an insulator. Yes, the mica, and India is the number one producer in world. We have been exporting this mica, and Bihar is the main state which has been giving the production of the muscovite. Next one, the chromite, granular form. So whenever you hold the mineral from any side, you'll find out that all the sides, whether top, front, or top, or back, if it is middle is a flat one, the flat surface of the top is also flat and the bottom also flat. It is look like as a table form. Yes. So that is the broad flat surface. Whenever you get a broad flat surface, straightway immediately you recollect that the middle will be a plagioclase family, whether it is orthoclase, plagioclase, or microcline. This middle will show you the tabular form. They are the crystalline, but especially with the important one, the surface of this particular plagioclase on the top as well as bottom, it is a broad flat surface. So that is called as the tabular form. Next one is the massive form. Now what is happening here? The mineral is a dense mass, like what we have the granules, small granules of olivine, and all these granules come together and it is become a compact mass. And if you get a compact mass, simply that also we called as the massive one. An example we have the olivine shows you the massive as well as granular, but here the talc will be the best example for the massive form. So these are the diagnostic properties of talc as well as barrel shape form. Yes, here we have one is barrel shape and second one is columnar. Now here what is happening in the barrel shape form? The whatever the sides faces are there, vertical faces are there, these vertical faces slightly bulge in the center, and they are tapering towards the top and bottom. So from all sides this is going to happen, look like as a barrel. Yes, if you have the barrel wherever chemicals or water we have been going to fill out, so that barrel it is look like as like this one, centrally it is bulge out and towards the top and bottom it has been slowly become the narrow one. So this will be tapering one, and that is the called as the barrel shape, and this is the diagnostic property of mineral corundum. So corundum will show you the barrel shape form. But this next one, where instead of faces, they are the flat from all sides, whether it will be a beryl one or whether it is a starolite. So all sides it is look like as a column. Any building is there, we have a columns. So similar type of form will be there in a mineral. Then that particular form is called as columnar, and this is the diagnostic property of the starolite as well as the beryl one. Minerals like a barrel shape or columnar one. If you make out the cross section, yes, if you make the cross section, and in that cross section the mineral shows six-sided or three-sided or eight sides form. Three sides, six sides, or eight side. Three side will be in a tourmaline, six side will be in a beryl, eight side will be in a augite. So that will be there. So 3, 6, 8. So this will be called as the prismatic form. The cross section of the middle shows you three sides, six sides, eight side faces are there. Yes, three faces, six vertical, six horizontal faces, eight horizontal faces, all connected, and hexagonal or polygonal shape will going to form. So that will be called as the prismatic form. And the best example for the prismatic is the tourmaline, the beryl, that will be give the or the starolite, that also will be giving you the prismatic. So one middle may give you the columnar as well as the prismatic form. So one or two forms will be there. In addition, it is a crystalline. Yes, it is addition, it is crystalline, but in addition, depending upon its habit, this is going to make a look like as a column. So we make specially as a columnar form. And if you take the cross section, it will be three sides or six side or eight side. So we call it is also a prismatic form. So this is a diagnostic property of tabular form. The middle is the orthoclase. Is the massive one we are given as the chromite or olivine, you can make out over here. Barrel shape form is the corundum will be there. So six-sided or eight-sided form that will be make out. So here we have tabular form, massive form, barrel shape form, columnar form, and prismatic, where the plagioclase of a family, that is a we have been kept over here as the orthoclase. Yes, instead of plagioclase, we don't get the exactly the sample of this plagioclase. So we have put it over there as a dodecahedron, rhomb shape. Do means 2, deca means 10. So there are 12 similar rhomb shape faces. Yes, 12 similar rhomb. If you have a cube, and from the two ends if you just pull it out, so it is going to give you a rhomb shape. Instead of this particular one, say example it's cube, just if you turn it out, that will be going to give you the rhomb dodecahedron. Example for this particular form, rhomb dodecahedron. Next one, cube, 6 square faces, that is a pyrite. Best example, the diagnostic property of the pyrite is the, if you see a cube form or 6 square shaped faces, mesolithic and oolitic, these are not the original forms, these are the secondary structures. That is the whatever the primary rocks which are there, or the whatever the surface is there, it has gone under erosion. After the erosion, the in the rainy season, water will carry out the material along the small particle of quartz or sand or calcite. Slowly, the material will be deposited along this, and a rounded nodule has been formed. And sorry, depending upon the size of the nodule, whether it is a large or small, we call them as a pisolithic or oolitic. If the bigger in size is there, we call it as pisolithic styles or pisolithic form. And this is the best example is the bauxite. And oolitic is the what we have, oolites or oolites are the oolitic limestone. This is the best example for that. So I'll make a separate one with the help of the actual minerals with this particular properties, form and all that. I'll shoot it later on. But in this one, I'm going to, with the help of the PPT now, I'm going to show you the various forms now. Now, rhomb dodecahedron. You can see here, this is what we have, the rhombohedron garnet face, cube, perfect cube shape faces, that is a pyrite, and pisolithic one, that is the bauxite, and the oolitic one, nodules are there. So this is the oolitic limestone. Luster, where so many mistakes will be done by the students, luster and fractures. So there will be the confusion is always there. Luster is the nothing but the shining of a mineral in the reflected light. How the mineral shines together, that is called as the luster of a mineral. You can see now the definition, reflected light, because ordinary light will be incident on this middle. In the reflected light, you are going to see the reflection of the light and how this mineral is going to reflect. Based upon how much light will be again here reflected from the surface of the mineral, on that basis we have the various types of lusters. Shining of a metal, and that is the best example we get taken as a galena, which shows you metallic luster. Second one is the pyrite, that is also show you the metallic one. But in this metallic luster, shining is a lesser in amount. Yes, it is a poorly developed. Shining is a lesser. Say example, 100% shining, metal like a shining is the metallic one. But now when we have 10%, 20%, 30% shining is there, then we don't call it as a metallic one. We called it as a submetallic one. So here the best example is the chromite, where you can have the less amount of the middle, so it is called as submetallic one. The next one is vitreous luster. Vitreous means glass, a broken glass, shining like a broken glass. The middle surface showing you a luster of a broken glass, and this is specially shown by the quartz variety mineral. That is the quartz, any variety you can make out, in that we are going to have the vitreous luster. And in that also again, if it is 20-30%, very less amount of shining is there, then it is called as subvitreous luster, and that will be shown by the best example is the calcite. Calcite is a white color and shows you subvitreous luster, 3 sets of cleavages and 3 hardness. So that is the best one. To where we have the various minerals which are kept, that is the metallic luster. The next one we have seen now is the resinous luster. The surface of the shining of the middle is luster like a gum or resin. Wood opal, jasper, they will called as the resinous luster. Or simply wood opal, if you hold it in the hand, you'll find out the appearance is like a woody. Yes, so that will be there. So jasper also will find out that is the resinous one, resin like or just oily type of structure. So sometimes oily we also write as a luster. The next one, pearly luster. The luster or like a pearl, shining like a pearl. and that is the best example is the mica and the talc. So these two minerals are going to give you the luster like a pearl. And this is the diagnostic property of the asbestos, the fibrous form of gypsum or asbestos. These are the two particular minerals are there which we are going to get. But in the gypsum, it should be a fibrous form. Then only we'll get the silky luster. Yes, like a silk we have the shining of the surface of the middle of this mineral like a gypsum or asbestos. They will give the silky luster, adamantine luster. This is the last luster where we have that is the shining, maximum shining, and that is the luster of a diamonds. So here example is the diamond itself, and when we don't have any shining, yes, there is no shining from the surface. That is a dull. We'll see the next one, the middle with earthy appearance or dull. So that will called as earthy luster or it is called as the dull luster. So here we have the limonite is the best example for the dull luster or magnesite. That is the best example. So these two mineral will be called as dull one. So here we have resinous luster, pearly luster, silky luster, adamantine luster, and earlier one we have seen the metallic luster, submetallic luster, vitreous luster, and subvitreous luster, and resinous one. Yes, we'll see the example of this particular lusters over here now. Pearly, you can see now the first one, shining like a pearls. It is like a glass. It is like a resin. It is like a silk, adamantine like a diamond, dull, no shining, and it is a waxy. So that this is what we have, the different types of. Next one, hardness. It is the resistance. It is the definition of this mineral is the resistance offered by a mineral to the scratching or unglazed or scratching or rubbing against the unglazed porcelain plate or rubbing against the unglazed porcelain plate. When you rub the mineral on any surface of the on a stick plate or whether of the mineral, two things very minutely you have to observe within a few, hardly 5 to 10 seconds will take out. Just if you rub it out, we have to see that there is any amount of powder is coming out. How much amount of powder is coming out? Second one, at the same time, what will be the noise quality? Whether noise is very high or whether the noise is very low. Depending upon these two factors, that is the amount of powder and the degree of noise. Amount of powder and the degree of noise, we will decide the hardness of the mineral. Yes, so it is the resistance offered by a mineral to scratching or crushing or rubbing against the unglazed porcelain plate, that is the stick plate, and whatever the amount of powder and whatever the degree of noise you're going to get out, on the basis of that we will decide the hardness. And the very important one is the Mohs scale of hardness. There are 3,000, more than 3,000 minerals are there, and this is the scientist who has done the experiment. He has started rubbing the mineral with each other, and he has made a small systematic table, and that is called given the name as the Mohs scale of hardness. And he has selected only the 10 representative minerals, and there he has given the 1 to 10 minerals and examples as given. A softer mineral will give more powder, less noise. A softer mineral will give you more powder, less noise, and as the noise is go on increasing, hardness will increase. But where you are rubbing this on the stick plate's resistance has been already fixed. That is 6. If the mineral is more than 6, if you rub it on that, you are going to get the powder of a stick plate. Scratches, powder. First, initially, you'll get the lines on that. And if still the harder mineral is there, you will get a little bit powder. Still harder is there, deep scratch, more powder, less noise. And if it is the highest one, it will be broken into the two pieces from the diamond. So this is where the soft mineral is there, we get more powder, less noise. And when the harder is there, we get less powder and more noise. When a harder is there, no powder, less noise. So this is the way you're going to make out the your observation, and on the basis of that you have to make the side. We are giving you the middle 1 to 10 middles, and the representative middle will be given on the front side. Yes, we'll have a game, little bit of 2 to 3 minutes. We'll play the game. I'll just repeat out. Number 1, talc. Number 2, gypsum. Number 3, calcite. Number 4, fluorite or fluorspar. Number 5, apatite. Number 6, orthoclase. Number 7, quartz. Number 8, topaz. Number 9, corundum. And number 10, diamond. Again, we'll repeat. Number 1, talc. Number 2, gypsum. Number 3, calcite. Number 4, fluorite. Number 5, apatite. Number 6, orthoclase. Number 7, quartz. Number 8, topaz. Number 9, corundum. And number 10 will be the diamond. Yes, now we'll make the from down to the top. Yes, number 10, diamond. Number 9, corundum. Number 8, topaz. Number 7, quartz. Number 6, orthoclase. Number 5, apatite. Number 4, fluorite. Number 3, calcite. Number 2, gypsum. Number 1, talc. It is clear now. Again, we'll now go reverse one. One by one, we'll make out. Number 1, talc. Number 3, calcite. Number 5, apatite. Number 7, quartz. Number 9, corundum. Number 10, diamond. Number 8, topaz. Number 6, orthoclase. Number 4, fluorite. Number 2, gypsum. And number 1 is the talc. So now I can again repeat. Number 1, talc. Number 2, gypsum. Number 3, calcite. Number 4, fluorite. Number 5, apatite. Number 6, orthoclase. Number 7, quartz. Number 8, topaz. Number 9, corundum. Number 10, diamond. Now what I'll do now, I'll start giving the name of the mineral. Can give me the hardness. Talc is 1. Gypsum is 2. Calcite is 3. Fluorite is 4. Topaz is 8. Yes, you have to be concentrated now. Yes, where I am going to break out. Number 4, fluorite. Number 5, apatite. Number 6, orthoclase. Number 7, quartz. Number 8, topaz. Number 9, corundum. Number 10, diamond. Now, again, I'll take the names. Diamond, 10. Corundum, 9. Topaz, 7. Yes, topaz is 8. Be careful. So here, number 10, diamond. Corundum, 9. Topaz, 8. Number 7, quartz. Number 6, orthoclase. Number 5, apatite. Fluorite, 4. Calcite, 3. Gypsum, 2. And talc is 1. So this is where you make the practice within a 2-3 minutes. You will be memorize the hardness of this mineral. Number 1, talc. Number 2, gypsum. Number 3, calcite. Number 4, fluorite. Number 5, apatite. Number 6, orthoclase. Number 7, quartz. Number 8, topaz. Number 9, corundum. And number 10 is the diamond. Just sitting with your friend, just ask him alternately the has a play Kon Manega Koropati. Within over 2-3 minutes, you will remember the one side the hardness and other side the mineral. So this is the simple table is there where 1 to 10 minerals are there. But this is not useful in the, this will be only in the theory it will be useful when a question will come out how to write down or describe the hardness, Mohs scale of hardness. At that time it will be useful, but in the practical it is not useful. So what we are going to make out, coin, knife, glass, everything or whatever we are corundum, nobody is going to give you or it will not available in the examination. So what we are giving you, small trick will be, I am normally using with my students last 33 years. I am using this one. Hold the mineral in the hand and just rub the surface of the mineral with your thumb. Yes, just rub the surface. If you get a powder of this mineral, hardness will be 1. Yes, this is simple method. Just rub the surface. If it is harder one, sharp one, don't rub it out. Yes, rub the surface with your thumb. If you get a powder, hardness will be 1. Number 2, scratch the surface of your nail. No need to scratch the whole mineral. Only the small part of this mineral. Scratch with less pressure. Don't apply more pressure. With a lesser scratch up, you'll get a 2. Yes, number 2, you just scratch with your less pressure. with your nail, you will get the hardness 2. Number 3. Now with the same nail, but before rubbing the again the same surface, yes, with the same nail, first clean it out. That is a very important. Otherwise, earlier minerals, whatever the powder is there, it is there, and you are just scratching. That will not give you the powder, but you will find out that this mineral has given powder, so hardness 3. No, don't make that mistake. Clean out your nail and just scratch with more pressure now. Then, if you get a powder, hardness will be 3. If you don't get one, it is higher than that. So number 1, just rub the surface with your thumb, right hand thumb, rub it out, get a powder on your thumb, number 1. Number 2, scratch with less pressure with your nail, number 2. If it is not there, number 3, again apply the more pressure with the nail, that will be the hardness will be 3. Now number 4, what we have to make out the number 4? Yes, everyone has a key. Yes, everyone has two-wheelers, or if you don't have the two-wheeler, you have the compass. Yes, in that compass also you have the instruments. Scratch with the any of this small line piece, rub it out. If you get a powder, hardness will be 4. Yes, a small piece of coin with your coin, 1 or 2 rupees coin, just rub the surface. If you get a powder, hardness will be 4. So nobody, don't have to ask in the anyone in the lab. So that will be there with your own. You have been a subscriber. Otherwise, if you have the pen, just ball pen is there. Scratched with the ball pen. If you get a powder, hardness will be 4. But once you rub it out, your pen will be goes. So you see that when your spotting is there, 15 spotting, in that you can use one pen, okay, but you will get the correct one. Yes. Number now, once you get a 4, number 5. Now stick plate is given in the practical. Yes. Unglazed porcelain plate. First time you're going to rub the middle on your thumb with the surface of this stick plate. Now if the middle gives a powder, the hardness will be 5. Yes, only one time. You are rubbing for the middle whose hardness is 5. Yes, to find out the hardness, you are rubbing first time on the stick plate. If you get a powder, hardness will be 5. Number 6. Now the stick plate is having hardness 6. At the same time, if you're rubbing the middle, both are of the same resistance. Then what is happening? Nothing is going to happen. Both are having the same strength, like a boxers. Both have the same strength. So whichever the weak becomes, that will falls out. But whenever they are the strong one, both have the same one, that will be stand remain. So here, when the minerals having a mineral as well as stick plate, both have the same resistance. If you rub it out, you don't find anything, just the noise. Quality of noise will be there, and that will be the hardness is 6. Second time you are going to use the stick plate. Number 7, again with the stick plate. If you rub the number 7 middle on the stick plate, you're going to get the scratch. Sometime a little bit of powder, a small scratch or little bit of powder, hardness will be 7. Number 8, rub it on the surface, you find a deep scratch, more powder. Yes, deep scratch, more powder of the stick plate, not a middle. Yes, remember after onward 6, you're going to get the powder of a stick plate because it become the soft and the middle become the hard. So when you rub the 7, you get the scratch on the stick plate and a little bit powder of the stick plate, not a middle. Noise is more. Number 7, again noise will be more, deep scratch, more powder as compared to the number 6. Number 8, deep scratch, more powder. Number 9, again deep scratch, more powder. Number 10, if you rub it out, the middle will be break out. So number 10, nobody will give you in the practical. So it will not best ideal example we are giving in the practical. Up to 9, we are giving the minerals in the practical to identify the properties of this mineral for the hardness especially. So number 1, rub the surface with the thumb, get a powder, number 1. Number 2, if you don't get a powder, then the same mineral, scratch with your nail. If you get a powder, hardness 2. If you don't get a powder, then again with the same nail, but before going to rub, clean your surface. and apply more pressure with your nail. If you get a powder, hardness will be 3. Number 4 is key or coin. Rub on the surface. If you get a powder, hardness will be 4. Number 5, rub the stick plate, mineral on the stick plate. You get a powder of a mineral and a noise. So you're going to get the stick, so hardness will be 5. Number 6, no powder, just noise, nothing is there. So number 6. Number 7, there will be scratch, sometime powder of a mineral, that is the hardness is 7. And number 8, deep scratch, more powder. Number 9, deep scratch, more powder as compared to earlier one. And the last one, number 10, it is broken out. But now the Mohs scale of hardness, number 9 and number 10, he has given the comparison between the corundum and the diamond. Yes, what we have is the comparison between the corundum hardness and the diamond. Diamond is 33 times harder than the what we have the corundum. So we remember this is a systematic small table, and this is the skill by which you can easily find out the hardness of the mineral. Yes, we'll go to the worked very hard, and he has given us the best table to find out the hardness of the mineral. These are the representative minerals. Number 3 is calcite, number 4 fluorite, number 5 apatite, number 6 orthoclase or feldspar family, number 7 quartz, again a quartz family, number 8 topaz, number 9 corundum, and number 10 diamonds. So this is what we I given this those people who has given the ranges. What are the here we have the confusion, luster and a fracture. So students make the confusion over these two properties. Fracture is the broken surface of the mineral. Remember, fracture is the broken fractures. The first one, conchoidal fractures. The broken surface shows concave depression and convex. Yes, depression is there or elevation is there. Yes, depression or elevation with the depression or with the elevations, concentric lines. And the best example is the quartz or rock crystals will give you the full form of the concentric lines. And the glass is the best example. Any broken glass, if you see out a small piece which has been broken out, in that you can find out the conchoidal fracture is best seen. So you can see over there. If it is smaller in size, it is subconchoidal, and that we are given as the rosy quartz or amethyst will given you the lesser amount. These are the family of the quartz. Quartz will give you conchoidal or subconchoidal fractures. Next one, uneven fracture, where the broken surface is rough. The broken surface, when you just rub your surface or just feel your surface, just handle your surface on the broken surface of the middle, will find out it is a rough. That is a chalcedony, jasper, agate will make out this is the uneven one. Perfect one. Yes, the broken surface show you depression, and there is the concentric lines. Full form, it is the conchoidal fracture. And see the subconchoidal one, the smaller in size. You have to enlarge, focus, will make out this one. And uneven, it is a rough one, you can make out. It is nearly flat or smooth, gypsum calcite. When you break out the calcite, along the cleavages break out, and both the side, there will be smooth surfaces. So that is the best example. We give you the even fracture is the calcite one. And there is a Hackley fracture. There is a spine of sharp elevations of the ions are there. So this is called as the Hackley fractures, and especially this will be in the chalcopyrite will be there in the when you are taken out from the fresh sample. Hackley fracture. What is this one now? Can you identify now? The surface is flat of parallel lines along which it is a plane of weaknesses. It is definition if you make out, it is a plane of weaknesses along which the mineral can be split with the smooth surfaces. Both the sides of the surface, it will be smooth one, broken with the smooth surfaces, easily with the smooth surfaces. You can take the sheets or 200 pages book is there. If you want take out one page, both side can check. It is a flat, smooth, similar one. If you go on mica, take out the mica one by one, you can take out the laminate. You'll find out that both the side it is smooth. But don't make it in the practical, otherwise within a few practicals, that sample will be finished. So cleavage, one set will be given perfect by mica, and the second one, two set will be given by perfect by kyanite. That is the best example. Then the orthoclase and the hornblends, that will be there. And the third one, three sets of cleavage will be given by the calcite. Two set, three set. But what is happening in the case of calcite? Yes, one set running from front to back, a set of parallel line front to back. Yes, remember now in the calcite. Whereas the second one from left to the right, the set of parallel lines coming from your left hand to the right hand. That is a vertical plane. The front one, front to back, it is a vertical plane. That is one set. Left to the right, it is the second one. And third set is the horizontal. So the three sets will be there in the calcite, two sets in the kyanites, and one set is the mica. We'll see now. Yes, this is the one set, and this is the another second set. So two sets will be there, and this is the one set front to back. This is horizontal, and third one from side to side. Cavity of a middle. This is practically this property we could not find out very easy, because if we go on experiment with the Walker or Jolly spring balance, it will take at least 20 to 25 minutes to find out exact the specific gravity of the middle. But in the spotting, to identify the middle, we are just giving you 4 or 5 minutes. So it is not easy to find out, or just we have to, what we are going to make out, what will be its size, volume is there, and what will its weight. Just we have to make comparison, and on the basis of that we have to judge it out. But that is also not correct one. Low, medium, and high. So that will be, we have been giving, or we are giving, taking the three samples from the same size or same volume, but the weights are different. So we compare. We are, at least here it requires a lot of practice. Without practice, this particular property could not. And in the examination, we are not supposed to ask the specific to write down the specific gravity. This is the everyone mug up and they will write down, but no one will be perfect is there. It is the ratio of weight of mineral in air. You have to take the, just put the thread and tag it out, and the Walker steel balance, break out the weight, and just if you deep out into the water, how much water has been, it has been immersed, you have to take out, make the ratio, that will give you the less than 2.5, that is called as low specific gravity. Then all the ore minerals which are there, they will give the high specific gravity, whereas the non-metallic mineral which are there, in particularly the quartz group of mineral, they will give you the low specific gravity, and in between the rest one, they will be the intermediate specific gravity. So this is what we have, the last property, and this way I am going to stop here. If you have any problems, definitely in the next coming series of episodes, with the help of the minerals, I can again take out this session again, and I try here my level best to explain you. Anytime you can have this one, or you can go through my Facebook, or you can go through, you can follow me on Instagram, or you can follow me on Twitter. Anywhere will be there. So I hope you enjoy the lecture. I thank you. Have a nice day.